Well, everyone, thank you for joining us for another Zinzino Science and Product Zoom. I'm Stephen Cherniske, research biochemist. I taught clinical nutrition for two universities in Southern California, and I ran the nation's first FDA licensed clinical laboratory specializing in nutrition and immunology.
I'm Dr. Natalie Kather, and I'm a medical doctor, and I board certified in family medicine and anti-aging medicine. And when we were introduced to Zinzino over a year and a half ago, we were very impressed with this company, the scientists, the science they did, and of course the patents and the approach that they use, which is test-based personalized nutrition.
When you look at the industry as a whole, it's a patchwork. You've got everything from really good companies producing good products to people just making stuff up. The people you're going to talk to in your day-to-day dealings with building your business, you're going to be talking to people who are confused. They have to be confused because it's such a swamp of confusion out there. So when you have a company with solid science, when you have a company that's actually putting their money where their mouth is, and we're talking about a lot of money. Research is expensive. A human clinical trial starts at about $50,000, and that's just for a pilot. When you look at the study that Zinzino just published, it took what, 11 years to pull all that data together. I mean, so you have a staff of people, and they're not inexpensive. You have a staff of PhD level people working for 11 years to produce a study that is published ultimately in one of the world's leading biomedical journals. You've got a company that's worth paying attention to. So part of our job as being members of the scientific advisory board, as well as the creators of this Zoom, part of our job is to give you a sense and the confidence that this is something quite unique in the industry. I can't think of another company, not a single one I can think of, and I've been in this industry for over 50 years. I can't think of another company presently operating that has produced this level of science. So what we're going to present today is going to be a little bit complex. If it
But
gets
fun.
but fun. If it gets a little too complex, raise your hand. Let us know that we're getting a little bit too complex. Remember, this is not about you becoming a biochemist. It's not about you becoming a doctor. It's about you having the resources and in the research readily available when you're talking to somebody who needs that level of research. It's not everybody. Not everybody's going to need this level of research. Heck, when you're talking to somebody, one of your questions is what? Are you taking any omega-3 supplements? If they say yes, then the next question is, well, how do you know it's working? All right, so there's that immediate kind of get to the point, right? But when you're talking to somebody who's a healthcare professional or a skeptic or your biochemist brother-in-law, somebody who really needs to dig into the research, that's where we can help. So,
Exactly. And this company, as I mentioned, test-based nutrition. So right now they have three tests. There's the balance test, which we lead with, which tells us so much more than just the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. There is the hemoglobin A1C test, which helps people realize whether or not they're having blood sugar spikes. And of course, the 25 hydroxy vitamin D blood test. And all of these can be done in the privacy of your home without having to have some laboratory agent come and draw your blood. It's just a finger stick test that you can do at home and mail it in and get reliable results, not from the company Zinzino, but to a separate company, Vitas Analytical Services Laboratory, which is highly reputable, works with Cambridge, Abbott Scientific, other
Max Planck.
GlaxoSmithKline,
Yeah.
yeah, Max Planck, yes. So today, in getting excited and getting ready for the leaky gut test, which is going to be released at the annual event in October, we're continuing that discussion about gut health. And today, one of my favorite products, which is Viva. And Viva is a spa for the mind. And it contains bioactive ingredients called crocin and safranal from from saffron, which comes from the flower from crocus flowers. And so the when you look at the ingredients, you see affron, and that is the concentration of those bioactives. And so today I want to help you make the connection about how this is important for gut health and how it is a spa for the mind for so many reasons. The multiple modes of action that happen there, and they happen in a big way in the gut. So let's talk about relieving stress and increasing feelings of well-being naturally by getting a good gut feeling. So here are different modes of how it happens. By modulating the gut microbiome, so more good bacteria. Last week we talked about the benefit of xenobiotic as a prebiotic, helping to increase the numbers of good beneficial bacteria. And in that discussion, we focused on the beneficial bacteria that also improve the gut-brain axis communication, sending good signals to our brain.
So what you're going to learn this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you're zooming in from, what you're going to learn is something new because we've been talking a lot about xenobiotic in the gut. Watch what Natalie does here, making the connection between the gut and your brain.
Yes. So that happens through a pathway of who's living in the gut, the reduction of inflammation, and then this whole other neurological level of the gut-brain communication. And here's a picture I took of good bacteria with the help of Meta AI. And right there's Akkermansia. You may remember her from last week. And Akkermansia says, "Hello, I love to eat polyphenols. Totes my fave." And you may remember that from last week. So when you're having your balance oil, remember Akkermansia loves that. And she says, "Nibble mucin, encouraging the goblet cells to make more and thus protect the gut barrier better." Just saying.
All right.
Yeah.
Happy microbes.
Happy microbes, good beneficial microbes. And this picture is also familiar from last week, where here are Akkermansia, good beneficial bacteria, and they're nibbling polyphenols because they thrive on polyphenols. And they have this relationship with our gut to encourage the goblet cells to make more mucin. And this creates a protective barrier for us. What is leaky gut? Leaky gut is no barrier. And when that happens, then these bad guys, they can be free to get in where they don't belong, including into our cells and into our bloodstream.
So I'm going to grab the cursor here and remind people that this level of mucin is populated heavily with immune cells. And when that layer of mucin, all right, is disrupted or destroyed, there goes your immune protection, and therefore these bad guys have access to your bloodstream.
Yee, kind of creepy.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, here's a simplified kind of diagram of this gut-brain axis. You know, what is happening at the cellular level, the ecology of who's in the gut, what's making up the gut, that barrier, and when there's an arrangement of bad bacteria, we call that dysbiosis. But right now we're talking about creating an environment of good bacteria, which creates happiness and moods and serenity and harmony. So here is a picture of a nerve.
It's
And
not a turnip, it's a nerve.
it's a nerve. Yeah, it's a nerve. Loves saffron, which is this part of the crocus. That's where the saffron comes from. So again, the bioactives have properties antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, which are two sides of the same coin. When you have oxidation, you have inflammation, and then chemoprotective effects. And what this means is it protects the nerves, including the vagus nerve. And there's a lot of talk these days about vagal nerve health and is this going to be beneficial? And so
Lots of people selling vagal nerve stimulators, little devices that you wear around your neck, which purport, to stimulate your vagus nerve and to improve your mood and memory. What we're talking about here is a more reliable way of doing that by keeping your gut healthy and by supplementing with, in this case, saffron.
A spa for your mind and a spa for your gut.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And 70% of the immune system is wrapped around the gut. So thus we get serenity and harmony. So these happy gut nerves and beneficial microbes send messages of health. So two different modes of where this communication is coming from. The good bacteria saying everything is fine, life is good, enjoy it. And the other mode of action is, hey, I'm a healthy nerve. Good things are happening here.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep. Um, Akkermansia, there's her name again. So improved microbiome health has been linked to enhanced vagus nerve activity and resilience against mood and gastrointestinal disorders. And so Akkermansia definitely a beneficial bacteria in what she's creating in our gut and the relationship she has with our nerves, especially the vagal nerve.
I want to make a point about the word resilience. And we talk about this a lot because it is critically important, especially as you get older. One of my favorite examples of this is I was driving my mother to the airport years ago. And she was at the time, she was just turning 80. And she was pretty healthy gal. But we're driving to the airport, and my phone dinged, and I looked at my phone, and it said that her flight had been delayed. And so I was like, oh, and it hadn't been delayed just by minutes; it was delayed a couple hours. And so we're driving along, and she was a little upset about that. And I said, "Don't worry, Mom. Don't you know, we're driving. We continue to drive, and then I get another ding on my phone. It says, "Oh, the flight's been canceled." Well, my mother became very, very upset. In fact, she started to cry, and I had to pull the car over and explain to her, hey, this is no big deal, Mom. We'll get another flight. And if we don't get another flight, we'll go back home and we'll try again tomorrow. This is not a big deal. So I'm young and I'm got a lot of resilience. She's older and her resilience was like paper thin. Any change or any alteration of the plan that she had in her mind was upsetting to her. Why? Because she lacked resilience. Now, if I had known about Zinzino's Viva, I would have popped out a couple of tablets and given it to her right then, but I didn't know about Viva. No one knew about saffron back then. So this is really an advance, especially for anybody that you might notice, your aunt, your uncle, your grandmother, your grandfather, yourself, your spouse, your friends, your kids who lack resilience. This is a tablet that's going to help them.
Wow, I hear the kindness in your story too, that met your mom where she was at, instead
Yeah.
of just saying, "Look, you're just too sensitive,"
Yeah.
which unfortunately,
Or get over it.
exactly, when that happens, we need to realize, when we see someone that hyper excitability, that they're lacking resilience, and it's a good time to give a gift of
Yeah.
Viva. Yeah. All right. Returning to our story. Yay, we all want to be less anxious and more joyous, and these are the modes of how we get there. So the major roles of the vagus nerve, it protects the body from chronic stress, it lowers the heart rate, it studies blood pressure, and then for the digestion, we need those enzymes to break down our food, and it's in charge of how well we secrete those enzymes, our gastric acid production. A lot of people don't realize that our gastric acid production in our stomach is an important part of our immune system,
Ah,
killing bad guys as they come into the stomach, that acid. And then gut motility, we want our gut to be able to move things down appropriately, nothing coming back up. And of course, facilitating healthy digestion and nutrient absorption all over.
all of these issues here, all stemming from vagal nerve health. And now we have a way to reliably improve vagal nerve health, second to two ways. Number one is, as Natalie said, by giving the immune system a boost, helping to keep the bad bacteria in check, promoting the good bacteria that overall improves gut health. At the same time, a direct response from the vagus nerve to the brain, improving resilience.
That's right. Thank you. You can see here, these are what Perplexity helped pull up for me as references. And when you use Perplexity or any other type of AI, which is called a large language model, it's really important to look at what the references are. So, for example, we see the Cleveland Clinic, Science Direct, Mayo Clinic, of course, the NIH articles where you can click on those and it will take you right to the research article. I removed some of the stuff that Perplexity presented because it was not a reliable source.
Magazine articles, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to point this out as more and more people are becoming aware of what a great tool Perplexity is. We still need to be mindful about what it's presenting. I'm happy to say that unlike some of the other large language models, Perplexity doesn't invent stuff or make
Right.
stuff up, but it's always good to look at what the references are. Less stress means better memory. All right, direct actions and neuroprotective effects. We're going back to that picture of the happy nerve holding on to the crocus. So crocin and safranal can cross the blood-brain barrier. Look at that. It's not just the gut.
I know.
It goes right into your blood, into your brain.
Yeah.
That's a really important part of the brain-gut axis. What we eat affects our brain. And then directly modulates neuronal inflammation. And we've talked about how inflammation can interfere with cognition. And so another way that this is a spa for the mind.
So often when we think about inflammation, we think about what? Joint comfort, range of motion, inflammation, which is obviously causing some symptom that is noticeable by you. You wake up in the morning, it's difficult to get out of bed, whatever it is that you notice. What we're talking about here is inflammation that you can't feel. You can't feel your brain inflamed. And yet inflammation is the driving force of all forms of dementia. You can't feel yourself not getting a disease, which is related to chronic inflammation. So the wonderful thing about the Zinzino program, and it's not just Viva, it's the entire program, especially the balancing your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, how that affects in every cell in your body, not just your joints, not just your muscles, tendons, and ligaments. It does all that too. But importantly, it reaches your brain where inflammation can be reduced.
Love it. Mental clarity is important to me.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that less stress is leads to better memory, because I think we all can understand that when you're stressed, you don't think straight. And it's because your nervous system is too busy managing the stress.
Yep, it's true. True, true. All right, so here's a very nice table. Again, check out my sources. This is the Royal Society of Chemistry. So crocin, antioxidant and good bacteria love it. Yum. How does it affect the nerves directly, particularly the vagal nerve, in an anti-inflammatory tone? Great. Safranal, it reduces stress and inflammation, can cross the blood-brain barrier and influence the gut-brain axis in that way as well. And then for quercetin, this bioactive has barrier integrity, again, reduces inflammation, reduces gut-derived inflammatory signals that include things like tumor necrosis factor alpha
Yeah.
and things like that. References. So not a new idea.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of work behind that. Yep. All right. So some more about the neurological benefits with safranal. So yes, it reduces inflammation. It's neuroprotective in how it modulates the stress and the inflammation signaling in the brain after crossing the blood-brain barrier, as well as reducing neuroinflammation locally in the gut. and where the vagal nerve is at. We appreciate the good bacteria. Hello, Akkermansia. Thank you for all you do. And then neurotransmitter pathways. So last week we talked about the benefits of beta glucan in xenobiotic, helping promote gamma aminobutyric acid production,
I love
GABA.
when you talk that way.
And then and now here we are talking about saffron and its bioactives also play an important role for GABA, which is a fancy way of saying harmony, the experience of harmony,
Wonderful.
and serotonin systems, which is a fancy way of saying serenity. I think whoever came up with the word serotonin sensed, that word is serenity, right? Sounds very familiar to me, or seems similar. All right, so it takes guts to be resilient.
Yes.
Yeah. GABA for harmony and serotonin for serenity. And safranal binds and modulates these two types of receptors, sending us those messages that life is good, it's okay. It's like being at a spa. Yep.
Back in because I'm old, I remember when GABA was first discovered. And the discovery was very interesting in that they were looking at rats and stressing the rats and then injecting GABA into their brain and noticing how the rats were able to completely become immune to the stressors and find their way through the maze happily and easily. And everybody thought, well, that's amazing, but we can't be injecting people's brains with
Mhm.
GABA. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Well, about a decade later, it was found that, hey, there are more GABA receptors in the gut than there are in the brain. And that's where the influence here comes from two products, obviously, Xenobiotic and Viva.
Actually, more than two products when we think about the beta glucans are playing a role,
Ah, yes.
because that means it's also an extend
Oh, wonderful.
and protect
Oh,
and
good.
an extend plus.
All right.
Yeah. By naturally boosting serotonin levels, saffron extract helps maintain a balanced and positive mental outlook. And that's why I took a Viva before this discussion. Paul Clayton, PhD, who is our chief science officer in Zinzino, he recently gave a talk and told us and reminded us, hey, nutrients network, but drugs don't.
Hmm.
So let's get a good gut feeling by looking at the multiple modes of action of how the saffron makes a difference. So again, modulating who lives in the gut. Hooray, good bacteria. Hooray, Akkermansia. Reducing inflammation, and then the gut-brain communication that comes from who's living in the gut, but also directly on the vagal nerve system. And the vagal nerve system, again, is our involuntary nervous system and responsible for resting and digesting. So the big picture, everything starts in the gut. So repair and optimizing cellular function and optimizing the energy all begin in the gut. So what do? We put our omega-3 status into the safe zone with our balance products, our balance oils or scent capsules. And then, of course, improving the gut ecology with the xenobiotic, the Viva, the polyphenols in the balance oil and in the Revo, and of course in Extend and Extend Plus. All right. So Betsy was wondering if there might be a cholesterol test. Not at this time.
I think because it is so common to have your cholesterol level and and LDL, HDL, all of that is normally part of your blood chemistry. This is not something that we're looking at a test for.
And then she was wondering what products help promote a healthy cholesterol. And of course, the beta glucans in Xenobiotic help promote a healthy cholesterol.
Well, fiber in general.
Fiber in
Yeah,
general, yeah. But I think Zinzino is looking at the fact that they're derived from oats.
nice.
Yeah. And then, of course, when you get your omega-3 status into the healthy place, when your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is in the safe zone of 3 to 1 or better, that improves the cell's ability to burn fats and create real energy. And that's what cholesterols are a type of fats. All right. And Betsy also points out that that this was good information, learning how the microbiome plays a direct role with the vagus nerve for improving resilience. Hooray, Acromancia. And then Gunnar asks, can you take balance oil when you're taking cholesterol medication?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, our goal is to improve the function of every cell in the body. And when that happens, energy improves. And when energy improves, the body does a better job at burning fat to create that real energy. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for your kind thoughts. And we love you. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And you know what we're going to talk about? Gut health, because we're getting ready for the leaky gut test. Yay! Thank you. Thanks, Lynn. Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you. Take care. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pablo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
You guys are so
Thank you very
incredible.
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Hopefully we'll see you guys in Oslo.
Yes.
Hey, Davey. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, all.